The University of North Alabama has been educating students in the music and entertainment industry since 1975. One of the first programs of its kind in the country, and the first in the state of Alabama. We've got a lot to be proud of as we celebrate the program's 50th anniversary. We want to share some of the alumni and their UNA stories.
Now in LA, I get those phone calls for being that guy. Hey, if you want this type of sound, this type of soulful sound, call Prince. That just came from those relationships developed from UNA to Atlanta to the Bay Area and to LA. It's all connected. Hi, my name is Prince Damons, and this is my UNA story. I was born in a little town in Mississippi, Corinth, Mississippi. Everybody knows everybody there. Each year, instead of getting a lot of toys, my parents would get us instruments, me and my brother. And my brother didn't really stick with his instruments, so it turns out I ended up getting 2 instruments each year. So after time, that kind of accumulates. I ended up playing 13 instruments, and I would play in church. Majoring in commercial music was kind of the natural way for me to go because I wanted to be able to put all of those instruments together, put all of those talents together and be a music producer, be an entertainer, just be a music guy. After doing my research, the University of North Alabama was the place for me, and that's where I ended up. I was kind of all over the place during my internship. Most people are kind of in one place, and I was in like 3 different places. I wasn't great at managing my money like most college students, and I had $250 in my pocket. And I'm like, okay, I have to go to Atlanta to do this internship. So I got to counting my money. Once I got to Atlanta, I'm like, okay, I have about $70 left. And at the time, you could get a hotel for maybe one night for about that amount. And I said, okay, do I spend this on a hotel? Do I roll the dice this way, or do I sleep in my car? So I slept in my car. I slept in my car for a couple of nights. I would go to music stores and meet different people, and they would see me playing the piano, and everybody would come say, oh, wow, you know, who are you, and where do you play? And then there was a pastor that came in, and he said, do you play anywhere here? And I said, I'm new in town. I'm just now getting here. He said, well, do you want to come play at our church? We'll pay you. That pastor from that church was connected with some people in Atlanta. He connected me with JPAP Management, which is Usher's mom, her management company. And then there was a church, the Cathedral of the Holy Spirit. I was the music director there. I would direct the string section. I wrote all the music for the orchestra, which is why my orchestration class in my commercial music program at the University of North Alabama really came into play because I was able to understand how to do all the transposition of the different instruments, string instruments and stuff. And at the time, that church was like the largest church on the Trinity Broadcasting Network on TV, right? So I went from playing at a little church in Mississippi with like 7 people in there to being at a church with cameras flying around, and it was like lights, camera, action, 3 services every Sunday and even through the week. So I was playing behind people like T.D. Jakes, Yolanda Adams, Donnie McClurkin, like Kirk Franklin, all these people. And then I would run from there and go over to JPAP Management with Usher's mom. And then that led to me doing a short internship at LaFace Records, that's Babyface and L.A. Reid's record label. And then when they packed up and went to New York, it was just pretty much me finishing up my intern with the church and with JPAP Management. So I say all that to say I kind of had 3 different things going on at the same time. I wasn't sleeping much. I just was networking, getting to know people, and driving back to Florence here and there. That was pretty much me stepping out to that next step, you know, that next thing after college. I just climbed from there. The hustle took me there. The networking took me there. That was one of the things that I would hear often in my classes at the University of North Alabama, how important networking is. And man, that was so true. It's not always what you know. A lot of times it's who you know in the music business. And so between me learning and actually being capable of doing the job from being at the University of North Alabama, and then mixing that in with the networking and getting to know people, and even calling in favors from people that attended classes with me. That network that I had at UNA, and then the network that I started to build in Atlanta, just all kind of came together, and each thing led to the next thing. I remember one of the things that one of my professors told me, I believe it was Walt, he told me, when you're working at these studios, right, find the one thing that most of the people don't really know how to work, or they don't know what to do. Like, it's just that thing that's sitting there, and everybody's like, we know that it does something, but there's no one here that really knows how to operate it. So that's what I did. I found the thing that I saw that's a weak link, and they need somebody to do that. And I got really good at it. There was a software called Melodyne, and it was in its beta stage at the time. And somehow, I don't know how we had our hands on it, but I got really good at Melodyne. Your top pop artists, back in like the early 2000s, I was tuning a lot of those vocals, and it really made me important to the record label, and they kept me around, and I went from being an intern to like somebody that they really needed around to polish the sound. So my first major job was doing editing for LaFace Records and stuff for JPAT Management and the church, all three. I was doing all of that, doing stuff like that. I was really happy that UNA taught us a broad spectrums of things in the industry, because even some of the things I thought I would never use, I use. And then you also have to understand, in the music industry, because there's so much technology involved, it's constantly moving and changing. So if you get too specified, get too specific in one area, it can just change really quick. So it was great knowing about publishing, knowing about orchestration, knowing about just being professional, understanding the importance of networking, music theory. I use a lot of that type of stuff. It was really great that there was that broad spectrum, because I use all of those things. I've had people tell me just like that I'm really organized, and our professors used to be on us about keeping the studio clean, organized, check sheets, all these different things, and I use that stuff now. And I'm the type that even when I'm recording as a recording engineer, I'm labeling everything, and I'm always assuming that I won't be the last one to look at that session, that someone is going to open it up in New York somewhere, and they have to be able to understand everything that I recorded, understand what mic I used, all of that stuff. So UNA started me being disciplined like that. And that's really important in the industry. And I've had people brag on me for those things that can cost somebody so much time. It's the little simple things. I try to practice that, and I expect the people around me to practice that. What makes UNA special? The smaller classes, where you get a more one-on-one attention at UNA. You get more attention, you're getting more time than going to some of the schools where you can kind of start to feel like a number, at least from what other friends had told me. Most of the professors have actually been in the industry. They've worked in the industry. They're not just going from, textbooks. They can actually tell you, okay, this is what the textbook would tell you, but this is what I've experienced. Also, great community. A lot of people know each other. You speak to people because you get to know each other. Some of the other schools, they're so large. I've went and I speak at a lot of the different universities around, kind of as a panelist for these different clinics and workshops. And there's so many people there. A lot of times, it's like I don't know how people really get to know each other. So that was really good. I knew most of the people in the commercial music program, in the entertainment program. I knew my professors. That's really valuable, to feel like there's that connection there. Coming from the little town of Corinth, Mississippi, about an hour down the street from UNA, I grew up, my feet wouldn't even touch the ground while I was playing the piano in church. I was young. I was like 5 years old. And I would go and I would play the same 2 songs every Sunday because the chords were the same. Going from the little boy in Corinth, Mississippi, to working with Britney Spears, Whitney Houston, Dwele, Guapale, E40, Too Short. All of these big people I was either working directly with or indirectly with. I'm bringing artists in. I just brought Zapp. I don't know if you remember Zapp from Zapp and Roger Troutman and Shirley Murdoch. I just brought them for a show. It just like these people that I grew up seeing and hearing, I'm the guy now that's bringing them to town and understanding how to run the whole ship and have people come out, 1,000 to 10,000, however many people the venue sits, to watch all of these smiling faces. And none of that would have happened without Prince Damons. None of that would have happened with UNA. And none of that would have happened without all of those ladies encouraging me to keep playing those 2 songs in Corinth, Mississippi. So anyone looking to be in the music industry, I would say One, make sure you love it, like absolutely love it, have passion for it. If you love it and you need it, like the air, like you need it, like it's something that you really need, you have to have that type of passion. And if you have that, you can go high, you can go far. You have to be self-motivated. And then, just stay focused, network, get some schooling behind it to make sure that it's not just all networking. You actually have to be able to deliver. So I would say, and then just keep pushing, and be broad the same way that the curriculum is. For me, with the commercial music program, it was really broad. Be broad. That'll really help you, especially as the industry starts to change.